Just went to the tank, man.
He had a fan last night tell him that he was going to get fired, and he looked back at the fan and he said, "You think so? Maybe they'll hire you."
Did he say that?
He did.
Was this on recorded or something?
It was during the game last night. I saw a video of it. It was pretty funny.
Minnesota beats number 11 Purdue 73-69. They had a big time. Stormed the court, senior night afterwards. Richard Pitino on the microphone looking comfortable. Auburn knocked off Alabama. Kansas was a 3-point favorite in that game. They lost by 13. Tennessee wins big over Mississippi State, 71-54. Nevada keeps winning. We got a lot to get to today on the program. Like I said, Matt Weaver from Peaks.com. We're going to talk a little bit of spring football as practice has gotten underway. Also, Colin Hartman, former Hoosier Baller, on the show. All that and more right here on Indiana Sports Beat. We're coming back right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for it each and every day. Or, of course, on Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 96.1 WXVW in Southern Indiana, and 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, you want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat. Thanks a lot for taking us along wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. Thanks a lot for taking us along for the ride. Jim Quayle with you, as always. And joined by one of our all-time favorites, Chronic Hoosier. Chronic, how are you, sir?
I am doing outstanding. Just woke up in a house that's featuring my old roommates from probably 15 years ago. Came up, had an opportunity to have some my brother and a good friend of ours over last night with their kids and their dogs. So there may be some background noise, but we are awake and remembering what it was like in the early aughts here in this little corner of Bloomington.
Awesome. It's always great to relive some old-time memories, especially in Bloomington. Speaking of good memories in Bloomington, Indiana, let's put another one on the board Saturday with a big win over Michigan State to sweep the Spartans this year. To add to the drama of this season of this team, man, they have certainly made it exciting, Chronic.
I'll tell you what, if there is a team that just continues on a regular basis to do the most improbable things, good, bad, and in between, I beg you to find another one.
Yeah, and this team is now. I talked about they have to win out. They have to beat Illinois on Thursday, of course. They have to beat Rutgers when they play them back home at the Simon Scott Assembly Hall, and then they still need help getting out of playing on the first day in the Big Ten tournament. But personally, I think that's an advantage if they actually play on the first day because it just gives them another opportunity to put another win in the win column, and 2 wins in the Big Ten tournament would put them at 19 wins and solidify getting into the tournament this year.
No, that's the crazy predicament. Most teams never, ever want to find themselves in a position playing on Wednesday in the tournament. But for Indiana right now, no matter who you play, no matter how this thing shakes out at the end, you're looking at a top 100 win, regardless if you can take the first game, even if it's a play-in round. And where Indiana's at right now, just the sheer math of it, they certainly need wins. They need more victories. They need more top 100 wins. Obviously, you've got a team sitting on 6 quad 1 wins right now with this confounding resume. I think every pundit in the country is kind of at a loss right now to understand Indiana, to figure out exactly, where they shake out when the selection committee, puts everything in ink. You're not wrong though. They need to get more wins, as many wins as possible at this point. Ideally, you would rather not find yourself in that situation, at least where you're having to play on Wednesday. My only concern right now is where these guys' legs are going to be. You see it often, teams that really have to kind of give everything late in the season to get in. We've seen it with Indiana before as well, where they just come in gassed. You don't necessarily want to have to play 2, 3, 4, even potentially up to 5 games in a row. But in Indiana's case, it's something that they simply need as many games on the ledger as possible with some more W's behind them. So most analysts, I think, are pretty much of the opinion that they got to win out first and foremost. They absolutely have to win out, otherwise everything becomes a moot point. The Illinois game on the road, you never thought the season would hinge on that in Rutgers, but this is where the Hoosiers are right now. So as much as people want to debate how many games into the tournament they have to go, in the Big Ten tournament they have to go in order to solidify that, at this point right now, let's just focus on Illinois. If that shakes out, focus on Rutgers when they get home, and just see where exactly the tournament season pans out and who's in front of Indiana. Because at this point, just keep winning. That's all they got to do, just win. It bonkers still, too, that you find themselves in a position where there's not necessarily a guarantee. I think at this point we're safe to say that, under the new rules, that an NIT berth would be guaranteed, but that's literally how close the Hoosiers are. Could be NIT, could be NCAA tournament. It could be they find themselves sitting at home the entire remainder of the month if they don't finish out their business here in the final 2 games remaining, and try to get at least a couple under the belt come Big Ten tournament time in Chicago.
Yeah, and this team has been so unusual this year that I think that again, anything that's normal is kind of out the window, and I think maybe this team will be better playing multiple games. Normally, I agree with you. Like, man, they're going to be worn out. But I think that this team had lost itself during that middle of the season where they went through that horrible slide. But they seem to be finding themselves, and I think maybe they're better off playing more than playing less right now because it's kind of like riding a high.
No, in question. I think you've got a team right now that's really rounding into itself. It's began to find its identity, that understands exactly what it's going to take to win. Albeit late, it's probably better than not having shown up. So I'm here for it. I think there was certainly a switch that flipped sometime between the Minnesota and the Purdue game. Maybe you can go back and look at the Iowa and the Ohio State game that preceded out on the heels of Michigan State. And I'm not exactly sure what it took. I'm not exactly sure why it took that long to get there, but it clearly seems that Archie's got their attention, that they're playing in a fashion that he's wanted throughout the season. You see a team that I certainly thought that against Michigan State, we were going to see a repeat of perhaps some past performances. They get down by around 10 points and struggle to maintain contact throughout. And once again, they just flipped the script on us, and they kind of actualized what it was, the things they have to do to make this team competitive. And it's usually going to turn in or hinge on turning games into rock fights. They did it on the defensive end. They did it by getting out in transition, getting some easy buckets. And they did it with relatively few substitutions involved. I know Izzo was pretty adamant that Indiana kept throwing bodies at his team, but when you look at it, you got two teams that effectively ran 2 7-man rotations. Indiana brought in McRoberts and Race for a total of 4 minutes, but you take those guys out, and otherwise it was 7v7, which kind of, I think, in this instance indicates a team that knows who they are, that knows what they have to do, and is starting to get a sense of who's going to do it and what combinations. And clearly Archie was confident with running that. Tremendous performance from Indiana, but again, one of the most confounding seasons and games, I guess, within the season that I can remember perhaps ever.
And ironically, arguably their 2 biggest wins of the season, both coming against Michigan State, but both coming without their superstars leading the way. Obviously, neither Romeo nor Juwan led the way in the last recent game here. Obviously, Justin Smith has the game of his career, but the last up in East Lansing, Juwan Morgan goes down, and the team kind of rallied around that. So it's ironic that their 2 biggest wins of the year come with the supporting cast of which we've been looking for all season stepping up. If they can get that the rest of the way, they can get something done.
No, and I think that just shows how fine the line has been between Indiana's success and failure. I mean, I can't remember how many times throughout the year we've looked at a particular result and said, if there was one other person available, if only there was somebody else that could contribute, that could share the load with Romeo and Juwan. Obviously, Justin Smith had a tremendous game. I don't know that you can understate just how important Devontae Green was in that win. You look at Rob Fennessy's defense over the final quarter of the game. It's just absolutely improbable, but it also kind of, I think, for a lot of that's my knee. For a lot of fans, just recognizing how good this team can be when one, maybe a couple other guys beyond the big 3 step up and just turn the tables for Indiana.
It would certainly a difference. And I think that's the difference that people don't understand between this team and the teams that are in the top 10, the top 15. They're getting production night in, night out from three guys, and sometimes a fourth and sometimes a fifth. That's what this team has been lacking. You've had Romeo and Juwan, but then when they haven't been there, it's somebody else that stepped up, but it's never all of them at once. And that's the difference between this team struggling, having their struggles, and being a really good top 10 team. Because if these guys could play together and that they could produce together, they would be almost unstoppable.
No, absolutely. And, you know, I think what stands out the most, especially here as we go through the back half of the conference schedule, is also recognizing how well this team can defend when it plays connected defense. It's clearly what Archie's emphasized since he came here. He's told us throughout the season the offense has been behind, not necessarily by design, but certainly as a product of what the coaching staff has been emphasizing, and that's this team's ability to defend, this team's ability to rebound, and how those particular attributes are going to keep them in the game, no matter where the offense is on a given night. And I think what we're seeing now is this team kind of actualizing who they are, how it's going to happen if they're going to have a chance to find themselves, in these tight contests against teams that perhaps outmatch them. It's fair to say, Michigan State certainly was missing some bodies on there. Izzo made a point that everyone was aware of that in the press conference. But no differently than when you look at the game at East Lansing. It took a horrendous free throw shooting night for Michigan State in order for Indiana to be able to achieve that win. At the end of the day, though, too, sometimes you have to make your own luck. And whether it's a foul situation, whether it's, a guy who's generally a far better shooter or free throw shooter than what he happens to be on that night, you make the guy work for it. You make him work from whistle to whistle. You make these opponents have to earn it from you. And this was this kind of a trait of Indiana in December that I think most folks were kind of relying on carrying over. But this team's ability to keep things tight, get themselves in a position in the final, in the final portion of the game to at least have a chance. And you're finding an Indiana team that's kind of found itself once again as far as its ability to put itself in that position, no matter what's happened throughout the game, no matter where the shots are. If they play good defense, if they go out and get the loose balls and rebound, give themselves a chance. And obviously took a career game from Justin Smith in order to even be competitive at the end. But I think it gives you hope for what the future could look like with just a couple of additional of attributes or of features besides just Romeo and Juwan. I'll say this though, I don't know that anybody in the conference wants to play these guys right now because clearly you could tell Izzo was a little peeved that Devontae Smith came in and just went completely off. Izzo was a little peeved that Justin Smith, who a guy had made 4 3-pointers throughout the season, goes and has a 3 for 6 night against him. It makes them incredibly difficult to guard against, though, and incredibly difficult to scheme against. You know what Romeo's going to do. You know what Juwan's going to do. But you add in the additional contributor, whether it be from 3-point or Justin Smith, just versatile all over the floor that night. It's really tough to play these guys when they play connected like they did against Michigan State. Yeah, and like I said, that's what they had been missing because the teams had gotten used to that and had adjusted to Indiana only having limited weapons. So the minute they have that extra weapon, it's like, oh, what's going on here? We're not prepared for this. And it doesn't matter who it is or how good they are or how good a team it is. You've seen that if Indiana can do that, they're trouble for anybody. But they've got to bring the effort night in, night out. And how worried are you that this effort continues on the road at Illinois Thursday? I'm terrified by it, to be perfectly honest with you, just because Hope is given I'd say a second chance. I mean, this is one where we were talking just a week or so ago, and I wanted to slap anybody before that, allow them to finish a sentence about Indiana's tournament chances. But here they are. They've got some strong wins on the resume. Obviously, there's math, just the sheer volume of the wins versus losses. And then you're going on the road, which is never easy in this conference. I don't care where you're playing this year. It could be Illinois. It could be Rutgers. There are no givens There are no guaranteed wins left. And then on top of that, you're going to play a team that's just going to be a frenetic defense. They're going to throw everything they have at you. They're going to make you earn every single foot of advancing the ball up the court, with everything on the line. And for a young team, it's just kind of a culmination of a lot of things that I think should give people pause as far as their anticipation for postseason chances. And literally, you cannot look past this. You cannot look past Rutgers once you survive this next game. This is one of those where it's going to put a lot of strain on a young backcourt. It's going to be a game that I think Indiana is going to have to play. We've talked about having to play harder, having to play tougher. This is going to be a game where Indiana is going to have to play hard and smart, because if you're not careful with the ball against Illinois' defense, you're going to implode on yourselves. And again, it's been a stretch where this team has had to give. You got a few guys who have had to play a lot of minutes. I know there's people always debate, these are young guys, 20-something years old. Their legs are fine. We've also seen a number of teams over the years where the legs kind of go a little bit flat at this point in the season. So not only are you going to have to be smart with the ball, but they're going to have to find a way to get some shots to go down. That's one thing I think about Indiana shooting ebbs and flows, is finding a way to sustain some success they've had from outside, finding a way to sustain their ability to get the ball inside and play inside out. I think that was probably one of the tipping points in the Michigan State game, was their ability to get the offense started early in the shot clock by getting it into the post, by allowing for that spacing to be created whenever the ball drops down low. But against Illinois, you got to get across the timeline first before you even get into those sets, and they're going to do everything they can to kind of throw through them. So,
they sure are, because it's a tough squad.
Not particularly excited about it, but it's going to be a test. And again, though, it presents another opportunity for a top 100 win on the road, which the selection committee is going to want to see here before Indiana truly deserves consideration for the tournament.
Like I said, they need to earn it. They have to prove it. So we'll certainly find out Thursday night. Chronic, thank you so much for joining us, man. We appreciate it. We'll look forward to it, and we'll find out how it goes Thursday.
Outstanding. You guys have a good one. We'll talk to you next week.
You as well. Chronic Hoosier joining us as always. Appreciate that. Joined us, brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry, serving Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Jay and Roger Reynolds take care of your family, as they have done so for the last 30-plus years. Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. We've got lots more coming up here on the program. Mike Schumann from the Daily Hoosier joins us next. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle back with more right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily.
This hour is brought
Whether
to you
you're
by
meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day, or, of course, on Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 96.1 WXVW in Southern Indiana, and 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you can fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
This hour is brought to you by Sweetland Waste and Removal Service, a homegrown company serving Southern Indiana since 1995.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat. Thanks a lot for taking us along, wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. Thanks a lot for taking Indiana Sports Beat along for the ride. Jim Coyle with you, as always. We've got Justin Kalen high atop the crew chief's box.
That's right.
And it is hump day.
Hump day.
We got you halfway through the week. On the program today, Matt Weaver from Peaks.com. We're going to talk some spring football as that got underway this past Saturday. I think we're going to hear from Kalen DeBoer, the new offensive coordinator.
We are, yeah. I've got all kinds of sound from DeBoer. He met with the media yesterday. I know
Hartman's on the show today, yeah. But let's go ahead and hear from him there, Justin. You were saying what?
Yeah, I know everybody listening is extremely curious about the quarterbacks. Kalen DeBoer talked about the quarterbacks. Let's hear what he had to say.
Yeah, they all bring a little something different to the table. You know, experience, especially out of Peyton. You know, I've been impressed with Jack's arm strength. You know, and then Mike, you can see that he's got that it factor to it, you know, as far as how he throws the ball as well. You know, and they're all going to make mistakes here at this time. They're all learning new verbiage, a couple different concepts and things like that. So they're all going to make their mistakes, but they've all had their kind of highlights already, even in the first 3 practices, have gone and made plays, and you can see how you could tailor the offense a little bit to each one of them and be successful.
New offensive coordinator Kalen DeBoer talking about the quarterback options that Indiana will be set with this year. Michael Penix, Jack Tuttle, and, of course, Peyton Ramsey.
Hell of a quarterback room.
Well, it's certainly a lot better than it was. I mean, you've got 2 very, very viable options that can throw the ball downfield, which is an option they did not have last year, which is something they didn't do last year, and it caught up to them. Yeah. It's just like it's very similar to this basketball team. When you're a one-dimensional team, when you don't have a three-point shot, when everything you do is from the paint, guess what? They're going to make adjustments, and they're going to pack it in. And that's what they're going to focus on. They're going to defend the paint and push you out and try to force you to take shots because that's not what you do well. Same thing in football. If you don't throw the ball deep, they're going to pack it in the box, man.
Well, I'm really glad you brought this up because he was also asked about throwing it, the ball downfield. Let's see what he had to say.
Yeah, I think that's just part of it. You know, we've hit some play action shots in each of the last all 3 practices actually, and so that's part of when you get a run game going. To me, the explosive plays aren't just about always throwing it all the way down the field. You know, it's about timing and accuracy and good protection, and everyone just trusting each other. And if you can hit guys on the run, great yards after catch can happen. So we've had a little bit of both, and we have completed some deep balls down the field, which is good to see.
There you go.
Looking forward to it, and I know the quarterbacks. I mean, the receivers are got to be just tickled pink, knowing that you've got not one but 2 guys that can sling that ball. Because last year, if you were a wideout, you were pointless. Yeah. Now they've got some use.
Tim texted in and asked, did Tuttle ever get cleared?
You know what? It's a good question.
I don't think so
I haven't
yet.
heard that yet.
Yeah. I think when Tom Allen met with the media on Saturday, he said he had not been cleared yet. But he's not,
I'm gonna be surprised
not all that
if
worried about it.
Yeah, I'm going to be surprised if he doesn't. But we'll see. We'll see. It would be a shame not to have that as a backup, one or the other. It would be a shame not to have Penix, the use of Penix and Tuttle both.
Right.
Changes the entire offense, man.
Absolutely.
Changes the entire
offense. I
offense.
mean, then all of a sudden you're looking at a year with.
What you plan for.
Then you're looking at a year again with primarily Peyton Ramsey until Michael Penix can get back to 100% health, which I've heard is going to be by the regular season.
Penix ought to be fine.
Yeah.
He's just not going to be available for spring ball to do a lot, but you're not going to show a lot in spring ball anyway.
How much does being out of spring ball like that affect a position like the quarterback?
Well, I mean, a lot. I mean, you're not getting to run the plays.
Yeah. Can't build that cohesion.
It's about timing. It's about timing, man. It's about just having extra throws, extra timing, extra plays. And those downfield passes that we talked about of that ability, well, there's a lot of timing that goes into that. Yep. And that timing is bolstered by practice and working with each other and knowing each other and knowing the moves, knowing when this guy's going to move or when this guy's going to throw the ball. It's just those guys become one. They become a team of a thrower and a receiver. Yep. But that comes over the course of lots of throws. And a big part of that is spring practice when you can get those extra throws in. I mean, it's not critical. I mean, it's not like going to end, but everything helps.
Yeah.
Everything helps. You want to be better? That's being better. Anything you can do to be better, and that does. The more reps you get, makes you better. Doesn't make it impossible, but it just makes it better.
Yeah. I guess the silver lining of the whole situation is whether he's cleared or not, you've got Tuttle there now running the offense as well as Ramsey. But I mean,
and your silver linings.
I'm just saying. Hopefully, they're able to tide us over until Penix is able to get back to full health. Because I think ultimately, at the end of the day, that's who Indiana fans want behind center.
Well, I mean, I don't know, but I don't know if that's the fact. I haven't seen Jack Tuttle. I've heard a lot of great things about him.
Yeah, that's true.
I know what they don't want, and that's Peyton Ramsey.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm sorry, but he's a nice kid. He's just an okay quarterback.
Yeah.
They need something extra. If you're going to do something extra, if you're going to be big, you got to go big.
That's right.
And they've got to take a step up. But I think everything that they're doing is taking a step up. Hey, hit us up on the text line, 812-269-6367. Let us know what your thoughts are. Questions for any of the guests on the program today. Matt Weaver's on. We're going to be talking some spring football with him. Colin Hartman former Hoosier Ballers on as well, though. We're going to talk some IU basketball. If you got any questions for Colin, get those in, or comments as well. But see what his thoughts are as Indiana heads down the stretch now of the season, in which they need to win these final 2 games and then head into the Big Ten tournament and knock down a few more wins. And I'm telling you, I think it would be to Indiana's advantage to have to play on the first day this year.
Yeah.
As crazy as that sounds, I think it just gives them another win that they can add to their resume.
Yeah.
They can put on the numbers. They can get up to 19 wins. It would be crazy. This team wins 20 games.
Yep, that's what I was just sitting here thinking. If they even get close to 20, 19, 18, pretty impressive.
That's within reach.
Yeah.
All they got to do is win out.
Well,
these
within
2
reach.
games. Of course, they got to win at Illinois on Thursday.
Well, and that's the thing about this team is they're a team right now, the last couple 2.5 weeks or whatever it's been, they're playing really, really confident. And that's kind of what you wanted to – that's what you saw at the beginning of the season. That's what we didn't see in the middle portion of the season. So if they can continue to play with confidence, I think they're going to be okay.
We'll certainly find out.
Yeah.
But they do have to play with that confidence, but they have to play with more than that. They have to play with production.
Yeah.
They have to hit shots. They have to continue to hit shots. They can't shoot 30% like they did against Michigan State.
And Devontae Green, after the game the other night, was actually asked about the team's confidence. Let's hear what he had to say.
Confidence is definitely up, and I think we needed that moving forward, and I think it's big for us. But like Justin said, we just moving on to the next game.
And there was Devontae.
There he was, and they're just moving on to the next game, which is Illinois tomorrow night.
These guys need some serious interview. What's the word I'm looking for? Advice?
Coaching.
There you go. Interview coaching. It's rough.
Well, they need some basketball coaching right now. So.
True.
They need to stick with one thing. Stick with something else they're not doing well. They need to knock down some wins going into the Big Ten tournament, knock down a few more wins.
Yeah.
And the craziest season will continue.
It truly is. I was telling somebody this the other day. I'll be 30 this year. It's the craziest Indiana team of my lifetime that I can remember in terms of the way they're like a yo-yo, up and down, up and down. You never know what you can expect out of them. It's been a weird season.
Sounds like Forrest Gump. No, the fact that they're still being talked about for the NCAA tournament is what's nuts.
Yeah.
And it goes along with being a millennial. You suck and you still get to go. You still get rewarded. Here's your trophy. You lost 14 games, but here's your trophy.
If they do end up making it, though, are you going to see it as that mentality? Because, I mean, they have had a lot of really good wins. So I would think if they do get into the tournament, it's because of those
They've had a lot of really good losses.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, everybody talks about those 6 quad 1 wins. Well, how about those 9 quad 1 losses?
Yeah.
That you shouldn't have had.
It's true.
There's just games you shouldn't have lost. I'm sorry, you shouldn't have lost to Iowa. You shouldn't have lost to Purdue. You should have won those games. If you're going to be rewarded for winning those other games, you should be penalized for losing those, in my mind.
Pretty good point.
Everybody wants to talk about, well, it's 6 quad wins. Well, how about the 9 losses? Now, some of them are acceptable, but some of them were not. And you don't just forget about that. That's why they just give everybody a trophy concept. Oh, let's just forget about that stuff. Just pat them on the back for the good things they did. Yeah, that's what society does nowadays.
Other than the game at Rutgers and at Minnesota, though, I think there's not a lot of bad losses for this team.
Nebraska?
Yeah, okay. I'll give you that one.
You'll give me that one?
Every time I try to think or forget about that game, it gets brought back up. Damn it.
With good reason.
Just let me forget about it.
How about the Purdue game? How horrible was that?
Yeah, the first one, yeah.
No, the second one.
Well, I mean, they had a shot to win that game.
They scored 46 points.
True.
In the entire game.
Wasn't pretty. But they had a shot to win.
It was disgustingly ugly.
Yeah.
That's my point. That's my point. I don't care if they had a shot to win. They had a shot to win because Purdue was awful as well. Right. Because Purdue only scored 48 points. But that does not alleviate Indiana's horrific play. They were terrible. Terrible.
Tim Tex then says, do we make the NCAA tournament with a loss in the last game?
No. There's no margin for error. There's no margin for error. That margin has already been eaten up and eaten up and eaten up.
Yep.
I'm going to say that over and over and over. No, they're one game over 500 right now. They lose one game, they finish one game above 500. Going into the NCAA or going into the Big Ten tournament, of which they will not win. So no, they have to win out. They have to win. There's no margin for error. You've already given that up. You let Minnesota kick your butt. You let Nebraska kick your butt. You lost games to Purdue and Iowa that you should not have. So no, your margin for error is gone.
Yeah. He also texts in and asks, how many games would we have to win to make the final game in the Big Ten tournament?
Well,
depends on seeding.
If they play Thursday, you have to play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and win on Sunday.
Yeah, so 4.
That's 4 games.
Yeah. Well, the championship game would be the 4th, so 3 games. But yeah.
Well, you'd have to win 4 games.
Right.
What's the question?
How many games will we have to win to make the final game in Big Ten tournament?
3.
Yeah.
3. Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
But that all could change, too. I mean, Rutgers and Illinois sitting right in front of them in the standings. They beat both of them this week. It probably pushes Indiana in the not bottom 4, so they'll be playing. Well, they play on Thursday. Big Ten tournament starts on Wednesday?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So potentially 4 games to get to the Big Ten championship.
Well, if you played on Wednesday, yes.
Yeah. Which, I mean, that's where they're at right now.
To play in a championship that they've reached one time.
Yeah. Sad.
Never won it. They've only played for the championship one time.
Not a tournament Indiana excels in, that's for sure.
Well, it's come during a period that Indiana has not excelled, period. The last 20 years, Indiana has not been Indiana. Up and down, up and down, up and down. Looking for that sustained success. Hopefully they can find it. I think they're on the right path.
Yeah.
It's going to take them a minute to get there. This season would be a good start. If they can make the tournament, it would certainly help.
Yeah. Regardless
No
if
doubt.
they do anything in the tournament or not.
Making it is huge.
Yeah.
Making it is huge. We got to take a break. We got a lot more coming up on the show today. Matt Weaver from Peegs.com joins us. Colin Hartman, former baller, joins us. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat coming back with more right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for it each and every day. Or, of course, on Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 96.1 WXVW in Southern Indiana, and 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
Well, welcome along to Indiana Sports Beat. Thanks a lot for taking us along wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. Thanks a lot for taking Indiana Sports Beat along for the ride. Jim Coyle with you, as always. Justin Kalen at top the True Chiefs box.
That's right.
Hope your day's off to a good start. Hope your week's off to a good one. If not, we can hopefully get it pointed in that direction as we've reached the midway point. It's hump day.
Hump day. Sorry. Gosh, dang it. I'm so
Hey, we've
mad.
got a great show as always. Matt Weaver's on the program from Pigs.com. We're going to talk a little spring football as that got underway last Saturday. Practice is underway up in Bloomington. We hear from Kalen DeBoer, their new offensive coordinator. Archie Radio also. We hear from Archie. Colin Hartman's on the show today as well, former Hoosier baller. Let's get to the headlines with Justin.
All right, here are a look at your Daily Hoosier headlines for this 6th day of March 2019. Santa Anita Racetrack out in California suspends racing indefinitely after the 21st racehorse dies since December 26th. With a loss last night, Kansas officially out of the Big 12 race, ending a 14-year streak of winning the conference. In Big 10 action last night, Michigan State defeats Nebraska 91-76, and Minnesota takes down Purdue 73-69. Those are a look at your Daily Hoosier headlines on this 6th day of March 2019. For more information, make sure to check out thedailyhoosier.com.
How about the Indiana Pacers?
How about them?
Man, they are still rolling. They win last night. They knock off the Chicago Bulls 105-96. They're sitting there with a nice, tidy 42-23 record.
Great. Love it.
It's unbelievable. I mean, it's they lose their best player, one of the best players in the league, in Victor Oladipo, and was expecting them to just drop like a rock. They're holding serve, man. They're holding tight.
Yep.
Unbelievable. Hey, hit us up on the text line, 812-269-6367, like Joker did. He says Doyle of the Indy Star was on the Hoosier yesterday. Said he had been notified by a D1 coach that recruits Indiana, not in Keon Brooks' final six, that Brooks is headed to UK. With that said, Doyle also said he didn't know whether to believe it or not.
Yeah, I heard that as well. I didn't read anything into it, and I don't think you should either.
I mean, I very well may be true. It's a 50-50 shot.
Yeah.
Of being right.
Oh, and that's
a 50-50 case.
Oh, and that's the thing. Anybody can go around and say that now. And, I mean, if you got a position like a D1 college coach, people are going to see you with a little bit of credibility. And when in all reality, I agree with you, it's a 50-50 shot.
We'll certainly find out.
So you're either going to look like an idiot or a genius.
We will find out then. Yep. I'm not going to be surprised. Not going to be, especially with the tweet that went out, time to do something selfish.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a little alarming.
But it could also have been to throw him off the trail.
Yeah.
We'll find out. We'll find out on the 15th.
At the same time, in that same tweet, since we brought that up, he did hashtag scholarships over championships. Indiana hasn't won championship in a long time. So make of that what you will.
What does that mean?
Oh, Kentucky wins championships, Indiana doesn't. You can read into that however you want, but I'm just saying I read into it. Scholarships over championships.
Okay, what does that mean? You're not telling me what that means.
Well, I mean,
you're telling me what it said. I know what it said.
Right.
I can read it.
I mean,
what does it mean?
To me, it means, well, either way, whether it's Indiana or Kentucky, he's going to get a scholarship. So that part of it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. But scholarships over championships makes it.
What is that?
Yeah, that to me, that just makes it seem like Indiana.
Okay, well, why? I don't
because
get
Indiana
that,
hasn't won a championship since 1987.
Well, what does the scholarships part have to do? They all
right.
Have
no, yeah, I know, and that's what I said. The scholarship part kind of threw me off, and it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me either. But the fact that he said scholarships over championships makes me think Indiana. I might be reading into it a little too much. I don't know.
Hit us up on the text line with your thoughts. 812-269-6367. What do you think? Where do you think he's going? It's going to be interesting.
All I know is I'm ready for March 15th. I'm just ready for it to be over.
Yeah, I still say Indiana.
Yeah.
I still say boo-hoo to that report. I'm disagreeing with it. We'll find out. Colin Hartman's on the show today. We're going to talk to Colin, talk about some IU basketball. Matt Weaver from Peaks.com. We're talking some spring football. Kansas will not win a 15th consecutive Big 12 conference title, as that streak is by the wayside after they lost last night to Oklahoma, their 7th or 8th conference loss.
Crazy.
Of course, it coincides with them not having their two best players, both of which were gotten the same way, I believe, but one of which was sitting out because of improprieties. Basically, it was delivered by Adidas in a thank you note delivered by Bill Self via text, thanking him for that said player. So good to see that.
Yeah.
Purdue goes down. They took it on the chin. The Big Ten championship within the grasp for the Boilermakers, handed to them by Indiana after they knocked off Michigan State. And the Boilers go up to Minnesota and lose, and possibly might have left the Big Ten championship on the table there.
Well, it's interesting because with one game left, we've got a 3-way tie up top at 15-4 with Michigan, Michigan State, and Purdue.
And who does everybody play on the way out?
I know Purdue's got a pretty easy game. They play Northwestern at Northwestern though, so who knows how that'll play out. Let's check the other ones.
I think Michigan and Michigan State play, don't they?
Oh yeah, they do. They play each other. Yeah, so one of them will drop out.
See, I said this earlier that Purdue had an easier schedule. Yeah. Okay, I didn't say they have an easy schedule because they play in the Big Ten, but they had an easier schedule. You look at Indiana. Indiana played Michigan twice. They played Michigan State twice. They played Purdue twice. They played the top teams in the Big Ten twice. Purdue does not. Obviously, they don't play themselves. They're one of the top 3 teams. So they don't play one of the top 3 at all. They only played Michigan State once, I believe.
They did, yep.
Did they play Michigan twice?
They played Michigan State twice.
They played one of them once.
Michigan once.
Okay. So they had an easier route.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they had an easy schedule this year, but they had an easier route to the Big Ten title. Michigan State and Michigan both played each other twice, obviously. So
it's going to be interesting.
But there it is. There it is for the taking. Who wants it?
Yeah.
Who's gonna have it? Who's gonna be the Big Ten champion? It's gonna be a shared title this year for sure. It looks like.
Unless Purdue loses at Northwestern, then we'll have one champion. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's what Joker was texting too. Is yes, they play each other. So that'll be the remedy there. We'll see. Then the Big Ten tournament gets underway next week. It all starts. All the fun starts again. No New York this year, so nothing to complain about there. It returns to the confines of Chicago, back to the Windy City,
where it should be.
This week, the women's Big Ten tournament is underway, beginning today in Indianapolis. Indiana plays tomorrow.
6:30.
Who do they play tomorrow?
I want to say Minnesota.
That's right. A team that they lost to. So it's going to be a tough opening game for Indiana. I'd sure like to see them win a game in the Big Ten tournament to help their NCAA resume. I think they've done enough.
Yeah, I want to say they're at 19-11. That's enough.
Well, they've got some good wins. They beat an Iowa team that was a top 10 team, I believe.
Yeah, 19-11. They're in.
We'll see where they get seated, but obviously a better season for the women's team this year than last year. Yeah. And they had Tyra Buss and Amanda Cahill last year.
Hard to imagine they could have had a better season than last season.
Well, they've played better as a team this year.
Right.
They've certainly gotten a lot better wins. They didn't have any wins like they had this year. Last year's team did not have the big wins that this team has. They didn't go on the road and beat an Iowa. This team, man, was dangerous.
Yeah.
I think it goes back to teams that rely on one person. It really affects your offense. And I'm going to say that team last year, that women's team last year, it had a great player with Tyra Buss, one of the greatest players in the history of the program. But the team itself was not that good. Because when you rely on one person and they're doing most of the work, they're getting most of the reps. They're getting most of the practice at it. They're taking the game-winning shots. Well, then you've got nobody else to count on at crunch time. And that's the same with the men's team. They relied too much on Romeo for Romeo to work his magic.
Yeah.
And if you don't have other guys stepping up, then you have the season that they had. And the only reason that they've had some life is because they have had games where other guys have stepped up. These games that they've won, these big games, Michigan State, it wasn't Romeo leading the way. It wasn't Juwan Morgan leading the way. It was the other guys stepping up, and that is the difference in this entire team, their entire season this year, is not having that enough. Not having that against Nebraska. Not having that against Minnesota. Not having that in the Purdue game. Not having that in the Iowa games. You don't get it, you get beat. And that's exactly what happened.
We've seen it time and time again.
It's just simple. It is simple. I don't know that you can coach that. You can't coach balls into the basket.
Right.
You can't coach the fact that Justin Smith shoots 50% from the free throw line. It's ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. It's not acceptable. And it's not just him. He's not the only one.
And that's when
guys are shooting 60%. It's ridiculous. It's utterly pathetic.
That's why when everybody was giving Archie such crap in the middle of the season about him not being a good coach, I was just irate about the whole thing. I mean, he cannot, like you said, you cannot coach guys making shots. They're either going to make them or they're not. That's all
Purdue only played Iowa and Wisconsin once each also.
Joke.
Hey, we've got a lot coming up on the show. Matt Weaver from Peaks.com. We're talking some spring football next. After that, Colin Hartman joins us. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle back with more right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 96.1 WXVW in Southern Indiana, and 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small, your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural. You must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat. Thanks a lot for joining us. Joined now by our good friend Matt Weaver from Peegs.com. Matthew, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing okay. How are you guys doing?
Well, just trying to stay warm, even though it's March. The calendar reads March, but it doesn't feel like that, man. But spring football's underway, and I'm sure they're staying warm. They've got Kalen DeBoer, the new offensive coordinator for Indiana, trying to get settled in, get a new offense settled in to this program, and things getting underway. How are things seemed? I have not been able to get to a practice yet, but how are things seeming out there to you, Matt?
The first 2 days I thought I've gone pretty well. I've been really, coming to spring football, it's can be, I don't know, maybe a bit of a grind for players. I mean, but they do get to go back on the field. But I've really been impressed with the energy and the intensity that they're playing with. And they're not tackling yet. I mean, they the first couple of days they were just in helmets. I think yesterday they were in shoulder pads. The guys really flying around. The defense, to me, which is to be expected when you have a new OC, is probably ahead of the offense right now. The offense is learning a new scheme, but excuse me, they have made some plays. But I've just been really impressed with the defense, especially the secondary, how they're flying around, how fast they look, how athletic they look, just really making a lot of plays. I think they had 4 interceptions yesterday in practice. A couple of them were tip balls, but just made some good plays yesterday, and have done that in the 3. I've been to all 3 practices so far, and really impressed with the athleticism they have on defense. And then offensively, there are guys standing out. Nick Westbrook has looked really good. Stevie Scott, even though they're not tackling, he looks great moving around. Walt Fillier is in a blue jersey, which means he's kind of limited, but he's running great. Cole Gass, same thing, blue jersey, but he's running great. Peyton Hendershot at tight end. There's a number of guys at Donovan Hale. There's a number of guys that really stood out. They look great physically. They've had a good offseason of strength and conditioning, and it's showing up. And so it'll be interesting after. Now, they got one more practice tomorrow, and then they go on spring break next week. They won't practice. And when they come back, they'll start putting the pads on. So those will be interesting to watch because then you'll start to see it hit a little bit, kind of see where guys are physically. But so far, so good, in my opinion.
How many practices do they actually get in spring ball? I know they're going like every other day.
You get 15. That's the most. That's the rule, for the NCAA. So what most teams do, pretty much everybody does, is you have 14 practices and then your spring game, and then maybe some people might do how they do those practices. What they do. Maybe some teams will have a second scrimmage or something, and that's probably what Indiana may have. A couple scrimmages. Not open, but like where they kind of scrimmage maybe one time or something. I'm not sure. Well, I don't know how they're setting it up, but you get 15 total in spring. How you want to do those is up to you, but that's the limit, 15.
And Indiana, of course, having their spring game the night before Little 500, so that'll be kind of fun. Fun thing to happen. I think that's on April 12th or the.
Yeah, April 12th at 7:00.
But so that'll be fun. But Indiana's got to be the guys that are the receiving core. They've got to be excited this year with the prospect of having three solid quarterbacks in that quarterback room, two of which that are known for really being able to throw that ball. So there's got to be a little extra pep in the step in the wide receivers room this year.
Yeah, I would think so. And with the new scheme coming in, and I'm sure they've, after being around Coach DeBoer, they know what he's looking for. And he met with the media yesterday. I was actually interviewing somebody else, but Mike Pegram from our site talked to him, and I know he mentioned some guys that stood out at receiver. I talked to Peyton Hendershot. He plays tight end, but he's basically like a big receiver, and he's really excited about the new offense. He in the offense the last few years, the tight end got the ball, but it was more of kind of dumping the ball off in shorter routes. He's really excited about the prospect of him being able to maybe run some more deeper routes, some stuff down the seams, and get the ball more in an area where you can do something with it. So it seems like the skill guys are excited about the offense. And if you look at the track record of Kalen DeBoer, Eastern Michigan, and Fresno State, I'm not really sure how you couldn't be.
Yeah, and I know that a lot of people are going to say, "Hey, we've heard this every year, get excited about it." But the truth is, I mean, they've got a lot of good pieces in place, man. You've got a young and invigorating offensive coordinator coming in. You have two big throwing quarterbacks in the quarterback room, and you have a very wealth of talent on the offensive side, whether you're talking about in the wide receivers room or the running backs room. In addition, so they've got a lot of good quality pieces for that offensive this year if they can keep protected with the offensive line.
Yeah, and that'll be the key. And like I said, we haven't seen, they're not putting the pads on, so we really haven't seen they got a true feel for the O-line because, like I said, they're not really hitting. I mean, they are doing stuff where they try to block, but Coy Cronk's been out for a few days, not because of injury. He's had a personal issue at home, a family issue, so he's missed a couple practices, which for him isn't a big deal. He's played in so many games that him missing a few practices is a big deal. But the one kind of silver lining there for the O-line is it's getting guys reps that maybe otherwise wouldn't have gotten some of those reps. So it does help your depth a little bit. I've noticed Caleb Jones. Yeah, he's a freshman. I'm not saying he's going to play this year, but Matthew Bedford definitely looks the part. I mean, he moves extremely well, really athletic. He's got to get bigger. I mean, he's about 70 or 80 pounds, so he's got to get some more weight on him. But, man, does he look – he looks like the real deal at O-line. And, it looks like they got a really good one there for most likely down the road, but who knows? If he puts on the necessary weight, maybe he gets himself in the mix this fall. But overall, I think the guys you expect to look good. The Simon Stepniaks, the Hunter Littlejohns, the Harry Kreiders, those guys are all doing pretty well, and the young guys seem to be coming along. There's some mistakes out there, but the O-line, as we've talked about countless times, is going to be the key for the season.
Matthew Bedford, heard his name a lot. So he's one of the guys that we could see something out of as a freshman. You don't usually see that, but with this Indiana team, Tom Allen has not been afraid to give those freshmen an opportunity. I mean, you saw it last year with Stevie Scott. He had a breakout season last year, and you expect the same from him this year, although the running backs room will be full of talent as well. Cole Guest coming back. Hopefully they can help out there. But, the freshmen, they will get a shot if they're able to do it with Tom Allen. He would probably like to be able to redshirt everybody, but that's not always the case. Sometimes you've got to put your best athletes on the field.
Yeah, in today's day and age of 85 scholarship players, it's just redshirting everybody is just not realistic. I mean, if you bring in 25 guys, which basically, they pretty much have, or they're, right up there next to it. That's, at least a fourth-year roster, if not just a tad more percentage-wise. And it's just, with special teams and guys and injuries, it's impossible. Back in the day when they had 105 scholarship guys, that's how many you could have on scholarship. You could afford to redshirt most of your class, but today's day and age, plus guys are coming in different. Years ago they didn't come in as physically developed and as ready to play as they are now, and you have some guys that are freshmen that, quite honestly, they're as good or better than dudes that have been there for 2 or 3 years. and other than just going in the system, they're ready to go. And for a lot of these guys, they can pick that up pretty quick. So, yeah, he'll play guys. I think last year, I want to say they played, it was 14 or so or something like that. I can't remember. It was more than half of the class, and of the 26 that they signed. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's about the same percentage this year, about half the class plays. And they may not all be starters on offense or defense, or a lot of them may be on special teams. But I think you're going to see a good number of these guys play. I mean, obviously, it's the highest rated class they've had, at least in the recruiting era. So I would expect to see a lot of them play.
Yeah, also the new redshirt rule allowing 4 games to be played is very, very helpful for coaches, allowing, especially for teams, programs like Indiana that need that can play those guys a few games. But that was very valuable, getting some experience for guys last year without burning a redshirt season.
David Miller comes to mind. He played in 3 games. Played a big part when they played at Michigan and took Michigan down to the wire. Played really well up there. So to me, he's a guy that benefited him big time. He got that experience, got on the field in crucial moments, but he's still a redshirt freshman, and he's probably going to be their starting middle linebacker. And there's another guy that's really flashed. He looked terrific. On defense, like I said, a lot of guys have, but yeah, the NCAA gets criticized a lot for a lot of things they do, probably deservedly so, but give them credit for coming up with a rule that really is great for, not just schools and programs, but it's great for the kids. Seems like a lot of the rules they make, they don't seem like the players are being thought of, but in this case, I think it's really good because guys can play a little bit, get a taste of what it's like, but still keep that extra year of eligibility if they want to use it. And so it was really a great idea by the NCAA. It not only helps Indiana, it helps everybody, but obviously for a school like Indiana, where developing players is so important, it's a big deal.
Absolutely, and it gives them the an opportunity to try to catch up with these teams. I noticed there was a piece I saw talking about recruiting, how expenses have gone up in Indiana with Tom Allen, but yet nothing compares to the recruiting that Michigan spends. They spend like $1.5 million a year on recruiting, which is a staggering amount of money. And you talk about trying to keep up with the Joneses. Good luck with that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's Michigan. Obviously, they've got a good program, but it's a lot of money to spend when you're not even competing for Big Ten titles. But hey, that's how they want to spend it. It's a lot of flash up there, but so far not a ton of substance coming from Harbaugh and his guys. But maybe that'll change going forward. It's just to me, it's spending money. You're going to spend money recruiting, but it's how you do it. Are you efficient? Are you productive? Are you spending it in the right ways? And I think this staff does, and I think it's showing in the kids they're bringing in the classes that they've been able to sign.
Absolutely, it's been good so far, and look forward to spring practice continuing. Look forward to getting out there and seeing some myself. But I look forward to seeing you out there, Matt. Thank you, sir, for joining us. Appreciate you as always.
Okay, thanks, guys. Take care.
You bet. Matt Weaver from Peegs.com joining us as always, covering IU football. The best coverage you can get right here on Indiana Sports Beat. Coming up next, we'll have Colin Hartman joining us. But hit us in on the text line. If you got any questions or comments, 812-269-6367, like Kevin did. Kevin was hitting up about Kansas, had their 14-year Big 12 championship sponsored by Adidas, and now they're trying to sue them. They are trying to get money back from them, as is Louisville. So it's kind of ironic, those teams. And he mentioned last year's women's team had 2 great players, Amanda Cahill. I think I mentioned her. But this team obviously playing better for some reason.
No doubt.
No question. But lots coming up here on the program. Colin Hartman joins us next. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat, back with more right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs, Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for it each and every day. Or, of course, on Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 96.1 WXVW in Southern Indiana, and 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey.
Today's guest is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville with hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer. Pizza, burgers, beer. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville.
And welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat. Thanks a lot for joining us here on this Wednesday as we've reached the midway point of the week. Joined now by Colin Hartman, well-known former Hoosier great. Colin, how are you, sir?
I wouldn't go with great, but I'm doing well.
I consider you. I put you in that category. Indiana having having a resurgence, man. They're trying to get things back on track where they had lost. Seemed to have lost their way midway through the season, but kind of getting things back in gear right now. The second win over Michigan State, a very improbable win, and it comes with not behind Romeo leading the charge or Juwan leading the charge, but Justin Smith, but someone different, which is what they've been missing this year, I think, in having a third or fourth guy step up consistently, which has been the reason this team just can't consistently stay on top of teams.
Yeah, and I think at the beginning of the year, one of the main reasons that we were winning so many games is because we consistently had, 3, 4, sometimes 5 guys in double figures. You can't guard that. You can't beat a team like that very often. And we kind of got away from that. Guys stopped stepping up. But at the end of this season, I think guys have really started to buy into Coach Miller's system. The defense has really stepped up, especially in the last few games. Even though we're not making as many shots, I think it's contagious. Everybody complains about this team not being able to shoot, and that's a big problem for us. But I think that your defense kind of carries this team. If we're playing good defense, then our shots are going to fall more. So it's just kind of a compounding factor that this team's gotten a hold of, and I think that the scoring aspect is next man up. If you can get somebody to have a big game like Justin did, or outside of Romeo and Juwan, and then still get Romeo and Juwan to get there, 10 points, 15, 20 points, or whatever it is, it's going to be hard to beat.
And you played on this team. You played under this system, and you know it's difficult to player at that level. You played under certain systems for a long time, then have to learn something new. We saw this last year. This team went through a little lull in grasping the defensive scheme, and then they really seemed to get a hold of it. And it seems like it's happening again this year. They had a big lull in the middle, and they've really gotten back a hold of it defensively and putting the onus on the other teams, and it's serving them well. But it's just there's that middle section of where is it just that difficult to understand the defense, or is it the other teams are making adjustments, and now after all that learned, now you've got to make adjustments to what you've learned?
Right. I think it's a combination of both. I think there's a huge learning curve, especially when you have guys like myself last year who had been in the system for 3-4 years already. You're hardwired to do it one way, quite literally, with the previous coaching staff. And so when you come in and change a lot of the defensive schemes, you have to spend the time trying to break habits, break second nature, and change second nature for you. So that's what a lot of these guys we're still trying to do. And I think that moving forward, these guys have gotten a hold of it. They've bought into the culture. The culture is changing into Coach Miller's culture, and it's a process. Rome wasn't built overnight. I think it absolutely cracks me up, the people that call for Archie's job already, just because it's irrational and insane, and it's bad for the program, quite candidly. So it's just funny, and I think that just give the guy time. You can see how well a team can play when he gets his time with them and everything like that. So just give it time. I mean, it's going to start happening. He's going to start getting more of his guys under his belt, and I think that another part of why we're winning so much at the end of this year is because the guys realize that, we're not going to have Juwan next year, and Juwan doesn't want to go out this way. That's a big reason why my junior year we played so hard and played so well, is because I didn't want the seniors to go out on a bad note. I genuinely had pride in that. So it's just, I think guys are starting to grasp that, and it's like, oh, it's almost over. Might as well, start playing this right.
It's funny you bring that up, pride, because I was watching last night Minnesota knock off Purdue, and it was senior night there, and they had a big to-do afterwards, of course, as everybody does, and Richard Pitino had the microphone, but to a man, each player was go Gophers. They're all about the team concept, and I'm worried that this year we haven't seen as much of that. It seems like that has been lost a little bit. Is that have you seen any of that? Is it just because there's so much that they have to learn? There's so much youth that is learning that has to go on, but it did seem like that they've lost some of that team concept.
I don't know. That's kind of a tough question, to be honest with you, just because I'm not in the locker room every day. I don't think they've lost the team concept. I think they're getting more of it back, if they did lose any, just because there's some unity there. And on a side note, it's kind of related, but like just social media in general, I feel like it's taken away from the game and taken away from the small townish feel of Bloomington and college sports in general, just because everything's so, idolized now, and everybody's so me, all these players doing, the wait till last minute to commit and do these big extravagant things. I think it's had a negative effect on basketball, and I think that carries over directly into the game, and into the egos and into the entitlement and everything of college basketball. Not saying that there's a whole lot of it on our team, but I think that the look at me kind of society that we have may have an effect on the way people play and the way that everybody plays. Sometimes that we've played nonchalant this year and got ourselves beat.
And I agree with you that social media has just had such a profound effect negatively a lot of the times on a lot of different things. And also you extend that to recruiting. How do you see that affecting recruiting, with recruits coming in with various fan bases, how they're acting and reacting?
Yeah, and I'm actually, so I started a YouTube channel and actually let people ask me questions, and I put that out there on social media. Let people ask me questions, and one person actually asked me that question, but I addressed it in the video, and I'll address it now. But it's bad for the program about how strongly passionate our fans are for faults. It's bad, and people don't realize that every time you say something bad or overreact negatively, not only to the players that are playing now, to the coaching staff as well, people that are looking to come to IU see that stuff. Their parents see that stuff. And as a parent, would you want your kid susceptible to that much irrational criticism after losing a couple games? And that's in the public eye. That's out for everybody to see. You want your name dragged through the mud like that? Would you want your name as a 5-star recruit dragged through the mud like that? Or would you want your kid dragged through the mud like that? People don't realize the repercussions. Everybody's so quick to hop on and tweet whatever they want to tweet or say whatever they want to say, and with no repercussions because you're behind a keyboard. But you're so passionate about the program. You want the program to be great. But in the long run, you're hindering it, and you have no idea because people look at that stuff. It's unreal. Think about your actions. Nobody actually feels that pressure or anything like that because they're behind a keyboard. The players feel that pressure, and future players that are thinking about coming in, they already feel that pressure. Like, no, not doing that. So we will lose recruits because of how quote unquote passionate our fans are. And I fully believe that.
I equate it to road rage. But how people get behind the wheel of a car, they would do things that they would never do in the line of a grocery store face to face with someone. It's kind of the same thing. Exactly. It's that empty courage, and you see a lot of the families of these people that are on social media. I see the last names, and I see a lot of current players, families that are on social media, and potential recruits that are out there as well. So it's not just the recruits that are on social media. Their friends, their moms, their dads, their brothers, their sisters are all out there too.
Yep. And I mean, that has a trickle-down effect. That the word will get to them if they don't see it. They're guaranteed.
Absolutely. We're talking with Colin Hartman, former Hoosier baller. And you've got a lot of other things going on yourself, man. You've got a new YouTube channel I saw that you've got going. You would talk about that?
Yeah, so me and my girlfriend Allie, we started a YouTube channel and just kind of talking about life and inviting people to kind of go through life with us and ups and downs, and so we can learn from other people, and other people can maybe learn from us. And I don't know what you've learned from us, but we've been through a lot. And, we just kind of talk about life, and we're trying to release an episode today where I invited a lot of people to ask questions about life after basketball, transition, out of basketball, and what it was like at IU, and there's certain questions that I'll answer some of these in interviews and stuff like that. But then the average person doesn't get to ask me a question all the time. I kind of set up a platform for people to ask whatever questions they want, and I'm addressing that in that YouTube video. But I do that as well. That's fun. And then I do a radio show on the GrillingTruth.net, Indiana Basketball Weekly, with Steve Risley, 81 national champion. Played on a Bob Knight. So it's an interesting dynamic between the two of us. I played for Coach Crane and Coach Miller. He played for Bob Knight, and this contrast in eras and contrast in play styles and mindsets and stuff like that. So it's really cool to get insight on both of them. That's really cool. And then I'm a pharmaceutical rep during the day.
Got it all going on. Yeah, the GrillingTruth.net, of course. You can also find Indiana Sports Beat there, but that's where you can find Colin and Steve Risley with their they do a post-game podcast. You've got a weekly podcast, I believe, as well. That you guys, so definitely a unique perspective. As he mentioned, Steve Risley was a player with Isaiah Thomas on the 81 national championship team, of course, and Colin played for both coaches Crean and Archie Miller, so a unique perspective there. So absolutely make sure you check those guys out. But I love to listen to it every time you guys are on. Risley's a character, old school, man. You got the old school perspective, the
old head
perspective. But what a character. But you guys do a great job.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. It's a good time, just for fun, really.
Do you enjoy doing that stuff? I mean, what is it like for you, someone that just played for Coach Miller, that played for Coach Green before that?
Well, I just have an interesting – I have a different view on it.
And now to talk about it, it's different for you.
Right. And it's it's different to see the way that, because I know all the backstory. I know, how we operate day to day. I know a lot of coaches' mindset and stuff like that, and the players' mindset still. So it's much different. Just even the game of basketball is in contrast with the time that Steve played. Social media wasn't around. Nothing of that nature was in play. Now all of that has a very profound effect on the game itself. So it's a very interesting contrast almost in views. There's a lot of similarities just because it's a game of basketball, obviously. And I would have fit that bill back in the day, just by my style of play. But it's a very different game today.
And that was my next question. In talking to Steve, in getting his perspective and his take on things, and how you played and seen and been coached, what differences can you see in the game between then and now?
I don't know. Coaches could get away with a lot more. Obviously, it's unfortunate the way that Coach Knight had to leave. But I mean, you can't do that stuff anymore. And he kind of caught the tail end of that, or the beginning of that, and felt the repercussions. So it's just, you can't get away with doing the stuff that coaches did to get players to play the way they wanted to. So it's just, I think that's the biggest difference. Just because we have rules with hours, how long you can practice, how many practice users you can have, how much time you have access to the players as a head coach in the summers. There's just so many more rules that the NCAA has put in place that completely change the way that coaches prepare, the way that players, get in shape and stuff like that. So it's just, there are so many intricacies behind the scenes that people don't understand have changed to the reason why a Bob Knight or somebody of that nature, with their coaching style, would not be able to coach in today's world, in my opinion.
And even the fans have changed so much today. I mean, there are so many fans who are holding on to things of the past that they're just not possible today because you can't do them that way anymore. And I don't think that they really understand how in depth some of these changes have made to the game.
Right. I mean, I understand holding on to the glory days. I mean, I love that we have 5 banners hanging. We all claim it, so why not, enjoy that? But it's a different game. It just really is. And a lot of people don't see it. Not every game is going to be perfect. A lot of people forget the way that some of those seasons went. We talked to Steve, and I forget what year it was, whether it was the 81 team or the 76 team. I can't remember, but they started off terrible.
81.
The very first season. 81. They started off absolutely terrible. And I guarantee you nobody was calling for Coach Knight's job. Granted, he had championship under his belt, but, I mean, teams can change. There's growing aspects within a season. There's growing aspects within players. And even, I addressed this a little bit last time on our show, coaches can learn to coach better. A lot of people are saying that we just have an assistant staff that can only recruit and doesn't develop players. So that's just entirely not true. In my opinion, Ed Schilling is one of the best developmental coaches in the country. And they can get better. They can work on that as well as coaching staff. So when people say we need a clean house and Arch needs a different staff, it's just simply not true either. I think we have the right guys in there and we have the right staff. And it's just, Rome wasn't built in a day. It wasn't. So.
And how important I think people don't understand is when you have a completely different style of coaching, a completely different concept, you need a different style of player. And it's not that those players are not good. It's a different style. They weren't recruited for this particular style, and it makes a huge difference. I don't think people really grasp that. They say they do, but I don't think they understand.
Right, and it's hard to explain. There's a lot of similarities between Coach Crean and Coach Miller's playing styles. They want to run. Coach Crean always wanted to get out and run, get it out of the bucket as fast as you could, get off the room as fast as you could, and get back and push in transition. Coach Miller's the same way, just not as much. so it's more defense oriented, which leads to the transition. So it's similarities, but very, very different. You know, it seems whether you force the baseline or you force the middle, it seems like a very small detail, but at the end of the day, it makes your whole defense. It depends on how guys are rotating, which way they rotate, and it can defeat a defense if one guy closes out, you know, top side when you're supposed to close out baseline, because then they rip baseline or rip bottom, and the help side is shifted to whichever way you're supposed to close out, and you close out the incorrect side, then the whole defense breaks down because then you're in a scramble situation, flying around helping, and then guys end up on bad matchups, and it's just very, very intricate. The little details add up to make a huge difference, no matter how minute they are.
Absolutely, I do. Colin, I can't thank you enough for joining us, man. I look forward to doing it again. I love getting your insight and your input on this season and this team. Thank you so much, and good luck with the YouTube channel. And make sure that you check out Colin if you already. Colin and Steve Risley on Indiana Weekly there at thegruelingtruth.net. But thanks a lot, Colin. I appreciate you, man.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. Have a great day.
You bet. Colin Hartman joining us, former Hoosier player, as he does from time to time. Make sure you check him out on the thegruelingtruth.net with Steve Risley. That's a great time, a great thing to listen to as well, to a couple of different perspectives from completely different eras. One of Bob Knight, one of Archie Miller. So a great combination there.
Interesting dynamic.
What's that?
It's an interesting dynamic.
It is certainly that. Definitely. And then you've got me in the middle of Todd Leary in between there. So some great things to get to. That's going to pretty much wrap it up for us today. Appreciate you joining us. We had Matt Weaver on with us. And, of course, finished up with Colin Hartman. Check us out on the rebroadcast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, wherever. But go out and have a great day. For Justin Kalen, I'm Jim Coyle, and I will see you on the radio.
Yeah.